Hello and welcome to TED-IELTS. I'm David Wills, and today we're going to be looking at IELTS speaking part 2 and how to describe a close friend. So this is the question we're going to be looking at today. It's a nice easy one, and it's on a very common topic, that of people, friendship, or relationship. We're going to be describing a close friend. Now, as always with the IELTS speaking part 2, you have to speak between 1 and 2 minutes, and that's the difficult part. Thankfully, you're given a minute to prepare, so you have some time to write down some notes. But first, you need to analyze the question. And unlike the writing exam, you don't have much time. But fortunately, it's quite simple to understand. The first thing we do is identify what exactly we have to say. And here, we really just have 4 things. So you have to identify what you need to talk about. In order to show that you understood the question, you're going to have to talk about all 4 items. However, you can talk about some other things. In this question, the first 2 relate to when we first met and the time that has elapsed since then. The third one is the one you may spend the most time talking about, and again, it's probably related to the 4th point. If your friend is kind or generous, maybe that is why you like them. So you could group these into essentially 2 areas: the story of how you met and how long it's been since then, and what sort of person your friend is. It's important to identify these features and to use them in order to structure your speaking. However, you don't necessarily have to go through them in the order that they're presented to you on the cue card. So what should you be writing on your notes? Well, you can't write too much. In 1 minute, you don't have time to write any sentences, but you can write down some words of vocabulary, some structural ideas, anything to remind you of the good ideas you've had during that minute you've had to prepare. For me, I would be writing down some notes about how I first met my friend, so I could remind myself. And I would think about the sort of person that he is, and think of some friendship adjectives. I mentioned earlier, I think I said the word kind and generous, but of course we want to come up with as many high-level vocabulary words as we can. So note down any adjectives that you think are useful and that you will come back to later. So let's listen to my sample answer. I'd like to talk about my friend Rich. We've known each other about 15 years. We first met in September of 2003 during our first week of university. I remember arriving at our halls of residence and meeting Rich. He had very long hair and he was dressed kind of like a rock star because he really loved bands like Guns N' Roses. So did I at that time. I remember thinking, yeah, this guy's pretty cool. And we got along immediately. We've been friends ever since. We lived together for the first 2 years, and after that we remained pretty close. A few years ago, I was living in China, and I sent an email to Rich and said, hey, you should come to China as well. And he did. And now he's married with wife and kids and successful business. I would say Rich is a very generous person, and he's very kind. He's also very outgoing. So he has a lot of friends. He gets along really well with other people. Why do I like him? I like him for those reasons and more. We've got a lot of hobbies in common. We can talk easily. If we don't speak for a while and then we see each other, we get along and there's absolutely no problem. During the 15 years we've known each other, we've never fallen out. Okay, so that was my talk. I was just trying to do it off the top of my head, but I think it was good in terms of time and also content. Alright, check out www.TED-IELTS.com for more free IELTS lessons. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, give a like to the video, and I'll see you next week for another video.